Well, good morning. My name is Dr. Bill Lile, and I practice obstetrics and gynecology, and it is an honor to be invited. It's an honor to be here. I love my job, but I love this. I have a passion for this. I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for pro-life apologetics, where people don't just walk in and I'm a level 8 pro-life and then leave as a level 9 pro-life. We want to give you the tools that you can convince your family, your friends, your colleagues that we are created in the image of God from that moment of conception, and all preborn need to be defended and protected. We're going to use a lot of science. I'm an instructor with the University of Florida. I've been an instructor with the Florida State University. We teach the residents, and tonight you are going to go on call with me. We're going to take a 36-hour shift. We're going to take a 36-hour shift, and I'm going to introduce you, bring you into my world on how we treat the preborn as patients. Because if they are a patient, they are a person, and if they are a person, they deserve our protection. And that's what we are going to be emphasizing today. This is where I was yesterday. If you look up here in Pensacola, Florida, and you look real closely, you can see the snow is forming right there on that little peninsula. I mean, what was that white stuff last night? You can see a little bit of ice right there, right there along the Gulf of Mexico. I live in a beautiful area. But let me show you something that's even more beautiful to me. This is my family. I married much better than my wife did, all right? So this is my wife, Leslie. This is my daughter, Sydney. Sydney is now graduating from the University of Florida in Gainesville. Emily is finishing her second year at the University of South Florida in Tampa. All are involved in pro-life ministry. All are involved with a pregnancy center. All have been involved in defending the preborn, and all could probably do this talk better than I can tonight because they have lived it. It has been part of their lives from the very earliest point. I was in Ireland last week. In fact, a week ago today I was in Ireland. Well, it was a weekend trip to Ireland because everybody takes a weekend trip to Ireland, right? Let's go to Dublin for the weekend. Well, why were you in Dublin? Because as you know, abortion was just legalized in Ireland last year. We went over and we met with dozens of physicians, nurses, pharmacists. Why? Number one, to encourage them, because they feel that a dark black cloud of evil has just swept the Emerald Isle and they need encouragement. But they're also willing to put their careers on the line. They wanted to be trained in the art of abortion pill reversal, how we can safely, for the mom, safely for the baby, successfully reverse the abortion pill mifepristone, also known as RU-486. So we trained them. We have been doing telephone correspondence, and in Ireland we have successfully reversed 3 abortion pill abortions that were being attempted. Thank you. So we spent the weekend with them, trained them, and encouraged them, and that is probably the only reason that I would go to Dublin, Ireland, just for the weekend. Now you're on call with me. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is me about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I am delivering the baby of my nurse. Nothing is more flattering to a physician who sees you at your best and at your worst when she asks you to be entrusted with delivering her baby and caring for her health and the health of their baby. This is the dad who is there with me. Dad is a former Marine. Dad is a Marine, and I wanted to get the dads involved in delivery. That's called continuity of care. I mean, there is nothing more continuous than when you were there at the conception, you should be there at the delivery. So we said, all right, let's put some gloves on you. So I said, you look like you're about a 7.5. And he goes, oh, no, 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 no. I said, this is not an option. This is an order. So I want you to put on these 7.5s. As long as things are going smoothly, I want you to deliver your own baby. I want the first face that comes into this world that this baby sees not to be my ugly face. I want it to be the face of Daddy. So this is the moment right when we deliver that baby together. And I love the way Dad's looking down at his baby. He's looking into her eyes. And you think, oh, wow, that's really amazing. That's really cool. No. Let me tell you what's really amazing. Who took the picture? Mom. So men, we cannot multitask like a woman can multitask. I mean, she is pushing the baby out. She's been pushing for a while, but she wants a good picture. Not only did she take the picture, she's doing this and cropping us into the picture. So when we try to keep up with our wives and we try to multitask, give it up. It's not going to happen. Nobody can multitask like a wife can multitask. Moms, you know that. It's like 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, no worries. Mom can handle it. When the mom leaves and puts us in charge and says, I'll be home at about 7 o'clock, we start panicking at 7:01. And we're like, it is now 7:02. If you were going to be late, I would have appreciated a phone call to let me know that you were going to be 2 minutes late. What do you see? There are things in our lives that change our lives. These stairs changed my life. My short-term plan, and a lot of times we have a short-term plan, but God's got a long-term plan. My short-term plan was to negotiate with this abortion clinic, take over the practice, have him sign a restrictive covenant where he couldn't practice any medicine, and that he would be no longer in our community. We purchased the practice, had him sign that non-compete, and on a Sunday afternoon after church, I had my own key. Before that, I had seen the downstairs. I'd seen the exam rooms. I'd seen the office, the waiting room, ultrasound. I'd never been upstairs before. So it was on a Sunday afternoon after church that I went over to my new office, had my own key, and I figured, I want to look around the office. And I walked up those stairs, one by one by one. Up at the top of the stairs, you make a left turn, and there's the surgical suite, with the abortion machine, with the abortion equipment, with the exam table, the stirrups, all laid up for the next abortion. If you've traveled through Eastern Europe, you come across areas where you just feel the coldness. There was evil that was here. I got up to the top and I thought, oh my goodness, we are just a block from Sacred Heart Hospital. We are just a block from a large church. We are just a few blocks from Pensacola Christian College. We are just blocks from large Catholic cathedrals. How has this been going on for decades right in our backyard, where thousands of moms walked up that exact set of stairs, spent a half hour up there, and then went down the other set of stairs. They walked up with a baby in the belly, and they walked down without that baby in the belly. So I made a commitment that was where God said, you know what, I need you to use your knowledge, your skills, your experience, because this message needs to get out. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to talk about how we treat the preborn as patients, that they are created in the image of God from that moment of conception, and we're going to talk about how we can defend those lives. So who created new life? God did. Genesis 1:26, and God said, let us make man in our image. This is after he has created the heavens and the earth. We read that verse, and God created the heavens and the earth. What did that really entail? That entailed over 200 billion stars just in our galaxy and 300 billion galaxies out there, plus all of the seas, the mountains, the fish, the birds, the mammals. And then God says, all right, you think that was pretty cool? Let me show you something really impressive, because we are about to create man in our image. None of the other parts of creation were created in the image of God. We, as individuals, were all created in the image of God. Well, the question is, when were we created in the image of God? I mean, am I up at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody's been pushing for 2 hours, and it's like, nope, no image of God yet. No image of God yet. The baby comes out, and then I deliver the baby, and I hold it like Mufasa, and I say, behold, the image of God. No. That's not when we were created in the image of God. How about when we do that first ultrasound and we can see that heart beating on the inside? Is that when we were created in the image of God? No. The only biologic sense is that we were created in the image of God at that moment of conception. When one cell from the mom and one cell from the dad got together, that's when we were created in the image of God. Well, when does science say life begins? I'm going to show you what happens with mammalian cells. Now let's talk about conception, and we're going to talk about it politely, all right? When it comes to conception, we have 2 people that are involved in this story. We have the mom side of the family, and we have the dad side of the family. We talked about how efficient moms are and how they can multitask and get things done quickly. Yeah, mom produces 1 egg for this party. Guys, can we get by with just 1? No. We are over here, and it might be 400 million, maybe 500 million of our cells to accomplish what she is providing with 1 egg. So the moment of conception happens, and now everybody thinks they're Michael Phelps. and everybody is on the starting track, and they're all ready to swim, and the gun goes off, and then all of them are swimming across, and then they get to the top of the uterus, and they have a choice. What's their choice? Do we make a left turn or do we make a right turn? They do not ask for direction, so half of them go to the wrong side. They go out the left tube, and they get to the end, and they go, there's no egg. And the other half go to the right, and they, we've got an egg. But guess what? Now it's not a matter of getting to the egg. Now they have to fight to see who gets on the inside. Now the real battle begins. God designed conception so that there was only a gold medalist in this race. There is no silver, there is no bronze, because dispermy is not consistent with life. So just like on Star Trek, if you come up and there's Klingons all over the place, what does the captain say? He goes, shields up. Well, guess what God did? He did the same thing. As soon as Michael Phelps burrows his way into that egg and that miracle of conception happens and fertilization happens, at that moment, shields go up. And it's called the zona pellucida. When that zona pellucida, that protective shield, goes up around the egg and says no mas to all the other guys who are all losers, who did all that swimming and racing for nada. As soon as that happens, there's a depolarization of zinc ions. What does that mean? It means that there is actually a flash of light at that moment of conception. And this is what you see when that happens with, there is literally a flash of light when you look at the right frequency of light. So when they hear people say, well, we really don't know when life begins, there's a flash of light. What more do you need than a flash of light to say, bam, that's when life just occurred. Whenever somebody does that pregnancy test, and they go, oh my goodness, I'm pregnant. This is time to celebrate. I need to go to my doctor's office. What do they look forward to? Do they look forward to the 8 tubes of blood where we say, well, we need to get your blood type, RH, we need to screen you for all these things, and we're going to draw 8 tubes of blood, and then on the follow-up visit we say, you know what, you're a little anemic. Well, no kidding, I wasn't anemic till you drained the blood out of me with 8 different tubes. Nobody wants to get the blood test. What does everybody want? They want the ultrasound. You show them the ultrasound, and what do they want on the next visit? Another ultrasound. And what do they want the next visit? Another ultrasound. This is what shows the life on the inside to somebody who doesn't know what has been going on in the inside since that moment of conception. Remember Olin Mills, where you go with your family portraits, and they say, no, turn this way, turn your head that way, and lift your chin up, and then you pause for the picture. We now have Olin Mills of ultrasound around our communities. We have one place called Peekaboo. We have another one called Show Me, where you can walk in and you can just give them 30. In fact, right there, starting at $30, you can get a picture of your baby on the inside. If you have a Groupon, it's $25. And you can get a Christmas card of your baby. Make this announcement even before your baby is delivered and born. You look at the society, everybody, what's one of the big trends now? Gender reveal parties. Everybody wants to have a gender reveal party, because they want to celebrate that life within the inside, because they know that is a person. This is my daughter, Sydney. You saw her picture. This is Sydney at 12 weeks. There is no Wi-Fi. There is no Bluetooth. So what do? You jump and you slide. You jump and you slide. And this was real primitive ultrasound 21 years ago. Technology is changing. Ultrasound now, when you look at this baby on the inside, you look at the baby's face. What's that baby doing with that right hand? If you have a thumbsucker on the inside, do you think that you are going to have a thumbsucker on the outside? Absolutely. Just like if you have a wild child of a kid, it's like, oh, this baby is just wild from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. I can't wait till this baby delivers and this stops. I'm like, are you kidding me? This personality. You ask mom, well, this is a wild child. Well, this is a pretty chill child. Guess what? If they have that personality on the inside, they are going to have that personality on the outside. Cute baby, huh? You want to see that same baby a couple months earlier? Do you see any difference? Is that a person on one side and not a person on the other side? No. Look at the hand positioning. Baby likes to have its right hand up by its nose. Guess what? That baby liked to have the right hand up by its nose while it was on the inside. Baby on the inside, baby on the outside. Person on the inside, person on the outside. Patient on the inside, patient on the outside. Look at the eyes. Look at the details of the nose. Look at the details of the lips. I saw one of the groups has a bunch of 3D and 4D ultrasound DVDs that are for sale. It's amazing how we can use this technology. MRI. I would have patients that would come along And now the first thing the doctor always asks you is, well, how's your baby moving around? Because moms are the best barometer as far as how the baby is doing on the inside. If a mom tells me, I don't know, something's wrong, this baby is not moving around like it should, this mom is with this baby 24/7, and if she has a level of concern, I have a level for concern. So I had a mom come in, and she said, no, this baby isn't just moving. This baby is, doing the flamingo dance on the inside. This baby is jumping up and down on my cervix like it's tap dancing. I'm like, I'm sure, but we're just glad that your baby is moving around. Then I saw this MRI. I saw this MRI of a baby that flew from Pensacola to, here in Ohio, and it's like, I just want to be up in first class. I'd be happy if I was Delta Comfort. I just want to just stretch out my legs. I'm in the middle womb right here. If I could just stand up, just want to stretch my legs one time, bam! I saw you. You were all like, come on, kid. You're empathizing with this person there on the inside who says, I just want to stretch my legs. I just want to get a little bit of room. That is the patient, that is the person that is there within the womb, and that who we must defend. Anybody here ever had surgery before? I see all this gray hair. Y'all have all had surgery, admit to it. My daughter had to have her tonsils out, over Christmas. She had had a couple peritonsillar abscesses this semester, and you knew if we can just get her through this semester, we will be able to take care of this and we'll have her tonsils removed. Nobody likes to have their tonsils removed when they're 20. My wife was 35 when she had to have her tonsils out. She would rather do natural childbirth over and over again than have her tonsils out because it is so painful. But my daughter came home and she had to have her tonsils out. She was asleep, she was under anesthesia, she could feel no pain, she could not respond to anything. Was she still a patient and was she still a person, even though she couldn't respond and communicate? Yes. When you had your surgeries, even though you could not respond and you could not feel pain, were you still a person? Yes, you were still a person. If I'm operating and I mess up and somebody dies, do I go out to the family and say, you know what, I'm sorry, grandma passed away, we kind of messed up, but she was under general anesthesia, so it's okay. She felt no pain while she was anesthesia. No, a patient is a person, no matter how small, whether that is a patient like us sitting at tables or whether this is a patient on the inside of the womb. ACOG. ACOG is not pro-life. ACOG is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. And ACOG, in their practice bulletin number 439, is talking about informed consent. Informed consent is not just a form that you sign. Informed consent is a process. It is a process where the risks, benefits, indications, and alternatives are described to you before you have a procedure done. Well, look at what they say. Seeking informed consent expresses respect for the patient as a person. Patient as a person. So if I want to defend the preborn, I need to prove that they are a person. So my next step, according to ACOG's statement, is then all I have to do is show that they are a patient on the inside, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how we treat the preborn as patients in the womb. The technology has just changed just over the past year, and it is changing month by month on the procedures that we are able to do to save the lives of the preborn. Pubs. When I was over in Ireland and I put up pubs, they were all ready to go get a Guinness, they are ready to go. I said, what's a pub? And they're like, we all know what the pub is, you go and get your fish and chips and a Guinness. I'm like, no. A pubs is a peri-umbilical blood sampling. Well, what does that mean? It means we can give babies blood transfusions in the womb. Well, why would you need to give a baby a blood transfusion in the womb? Because the mom sees the baby as a different person. And mom can actually have antibodies which will attack this different person in her womb. If we do not give the baby a blood transfusion, babies will go into heart failure and babies will die in the womb. Well, why would a mom attack the baby? Well, it's just like if you got a kidney transplant from your brother or your sister. It's close. It's pretty similar. But guess what? You will have to take anti-rejection medication for the rest of your life because your body is going to see that kidney as a different person. It's like, I don't know what that is. It's pretty close, but it's not me. Anti-rejection medications are required. Well, how do you know that a baby has a low blood count? Do you do a little blood test on the baby's arm? No. I can actually tell you if the baby is anemic by measuring the speed of the blood in something called the middle cerebral artery in the brain with an ultrasound machine. If we've got several hundred people. We had a fire, and we all had to get out that one double door. It would take us a while. And we would finally get our way out that double door. If there were 3 of us in here and there was a fire, 3 of us could just fly out of there real quickly. Same way when it comes to red blood cells. We are measuring the speed of the individual red blood cells as they are going through the middle cerebral artery. If they go too quickly, baby's anemic. If they're flowing normally, then we go, okay, this is a normal baby blood count. When we see that, and we see that baby is probably anemic, where do you get special baby blood? I'm sure there's got to be special baby blood that you give the babies. That only makes sense. Nope. If you have O-negative blood and they have a blood drive at your church or at your office or at your school, we can take your O-negative blood and we can use that to transfuse to the baby. At my hospital in Pensacola, Florida, we have given blood transfusions directly to the baby as early as 18 weeks gestation. We have an amazing NICU. We just spent $70 million on our new NICU. Yet we can give the babies a blood transfusion at 18 weeks gestation. We'll use ultrasound. We'll guide the needle through the skin, through the wall of the uterus. We'll guide it right on up to the umbilical cord, right to the umbilical vein, and we can transfuse that baby. We might have to do that every 3 or 4 weeks during the pregnancy to save the life of the baby because mom still has antibodies which are attacking the baby's blood because this is a different person there on the inside. Because half of the baby's genes and proteins came from the dad, half the genes and proteins came from the mom. Mom is responding to the half that came from the dad. So if we are doing blood transfusions to babies at 18 weeks, are they a patient? Of course they're a patient. And if they're a patient, they are a person. Twins, anybody have twins in the room? Do your twins, when they were growing up, did they share every toy perfectly? Did they never fight over food and snacks and candy and toys? No, of course they don't. Well, you know what? Sometimes babies are born each with their own placenta. Sometimes they have to learn to share. And there's a condition called mono-di twin-twin transfusion syndrome where babies each have a sac. And it's like, I got my sac, you got your sac, but guess what? They're sharing a placenta, and sometimes they do not share nicely. Well, how do you teach? It's tough enough to teach them to share. You can play all the Barney songs in the world, but it's tough to teach them to share when they're on the outside. How do you teach them to share on the inside? You play Luke Skywalker. What do? This is a baby. It's a big baby. This is a little baby. This is the placenta. They are sharing that placenta, but this baby is getting 90% of the nutrition. This baby is getting 10% of the nutrition. If one baby dies, they both die. Well, how do we teach them to share? Luke Skywalker. We go in with the laser, just like a lightsaber with Luke Skywalker, and we just say, right down the middle of the placenta, and we say, all right, I just divided that placenta. That is your half of the placenta. This is your half of the placenta. Now you two play nice, and we'll deliver you in a couple of months. How do we do that? That's what it looks like. That's a still image of the laser, and we can go in with a fetoscope, not with an ultrasound. We actually have a camera inside the womb, and we can map out the blood vessel flow, and we can see which blood vessels need to be cauterized because they're taking too much nutrition and medicine over to the larger baby. This is just a quick video. You can see on the inside, there's the targeting laser. This is one of the blood vessels that's just shunting on over here and needs to be cauterized. Bam. We just did laser vaporization of that one vessel there to teach them to share nicely. So if we can teach them to share nicely and we're doing laser surgery in the womb, are they patients? Yes. Are they persons? Yes. Do they need to be protected and defended? Yes. This is a great example. We do a lot of pro-life apologetics training for men. Why? Because men, you have the God-given duty and responsibility to be defenders and protectors. But just like somebody who wants to be a good Marine, we just don't send you off, to Afghanistan. We send you to Paris Island first. We need to train you. This is one of the examples that we'll give to men. So when they're talking with their colleagues, they're talking with their friends, they can use this example and they can say, hey, how about this? What's a delayed interval delivery? We had a patient a couple years ago came to Pensacola, and this happens around the country so much that it doesn't even make the news anymore. This mom came to Pensacola. There was a concert going on in Pensacola. Might have been Toby Mac, I think it was. She's 25 weeks pregnant with identical twins. One egg, one sperm, conceived at the same moment in time, and somehow before day 13 divided into 2 exact copies. And she is there, and she's just swaying to the music with Toby Mac there. And all of a sudden, bam, we have a baptism up on the front because she just broke her bag of water. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't think I'll be able to stay for the rest of the concert. No, you will not, So she comes to our hospital. She comes to Sacred Heart Hospital. Before we could do anything, she delivered that first baby, the identical twin. That identical twin goes over to our NICU. All the doctors, all the nurses, and all the technology, and that baby is being cared for. The other twin still has an intact sac of water. Our maternal fetal medicine doctors went up and said, you know what? We have 2 NICUs in our hospital. We have the ones with all the doctors, nurses, and technology, and we have the one that was created by God. And this one is actually doing a better job. As long as this baby in the womb is doing well, we'd like to keep this baby in the womb, and then when we get to that point where this baby needs to go to that NICU, we will. But for right now, we're going to use this one. Well, guess what? Do we get hours? Oh, yeah. Do we get days? Oh, yeah. Do we get weeks? There was a case up in Tennessee just recently, 6.5 weeks. You have one baby that is born in June. You have its identical twin born in August. You go to register them for school, and this one is in 1st grade, and this one is in kindergarten, and they're identical twins. The technology is amazing, but here's the real key. One egg, one sperm, conceived at the same moment in time. Before day 13, they divide up into identical copies. One baby is in the NICU, one baby is in the womb. If mom were to choose, she could legally say, you know what? I know we had 2, but I really only wanted 1. 2 is just going to be a lot of a hassle. I'm fine with this one. She could legally go to Virginia. She could legally go to New York, and she goes, you know what? I just don't want the second one. And she could legally take the life of an identical twin conceived at the same moment in time. This baby has rights and protection like if I was in a cardiac care unit, yet the baby that is in the womb that is the exact copy, identical twin, does not have those rights. Our rights come from God. It is the duty of the state to protect those rights, and it is not dependent on our geographic location where one identical twin is over in the NICU and the other twin is in the womb. That is a great example for our guys to take home when they have their pro-life apologetics training. That's a delayed interval delivery. Y'all remember this picture, right? Yeah, this was fetal surgery. This is old fetal surgery. I'm going to show you the way we do it now. It's kind of like, well, that's the way you did it when you were a kid, but let me show you what's really happened. It's like, well, I grew up, we had 8 tracks. We had cassette players. Now, there's no joy in downloading. Remember we used to buy an album, and you come home and you'd look at the album, you could open it up, look at all the pictures. There was an experience. Fetal surgery is changing as well. That was Samuel Armas, and Samuel had a defect. He had a spina bifida right there, and they did a surgery. And that is his mom's uterus. That is his mom's ovary. They made an incision in her belly. They brought the uterus out, made an incision in the womb. Anybody know what the technical term is for that? When they make an opening in the womb? It's a womb with a view. All right, so we got a womb with a view. All right, so the womb with a view is there. The baby's having spine surgery, but the baby is like, hey, I want to fist pump you, doc. Let me give you a high five. And Samuel stuck his hand out, and a guy named Michael Clancy took this picture. Went all around the world. And it's like, well, whatever happened to that kid? The mom is actually a labor and delivery nurse. And I met her, and she's like, yeah, everybody talks about Samuel. He sticks this, she goes, that's my uterus, that's my ovary, that's my tube. Nobody ever wants to talk to me and never wants to interview me. I was actually speaking about 10 years ago at Georgia Right to Life. And I was speaking, and this young guy walked up to me, and he goes, Dr. Lile, can I get my picture with you? And it's like, sure, what's your name? Samuel Armas. That was the little boy that was there on the inside. In fact, I'm going to be speaking again at Georgia Right to Life. Is it September? Somebody from Georgia Right to Life. Is it September, I think? And we're trying to get Samuel to come to that event as well. But I asked Samuel one question. I said, Samuel, when you were there in the womb and you were having surgery done on your spine, were you a person? Just a little kid. He goes, well, duh. I said, well, you need to explain that to our legislators, our senators, and our representatives, because they don't seem to understand this concept. You need to explain this to every candidate in the Democratic Party who believes that you were not a person and who is, as a major plank in their platform, is saying abortion on demand for any reason at any gestational age. You need to take that simple fact and teach them that you were a person when you were there in the womb. But that was the old school. I'm going to show you how we do it laparoscopically. Just going to be a quick little video. You can handle it. Breakfast was a while ago. It's going to be all right, But I want you to look at a couple of things. Ladies, when you did your hair this morning, were you trying to multitask by using your hair dryer while taking a shower? No! Why? Because the two don't mix. You don't want to be using electricity in the water. It's just a bad combination. Well, we don't want to be using electric artery in the womb. So what do? we take all of the fluid out and we replace it with carbon dioxide so that we can use electrocardiogram when we're doing the surgery. You're going to see a baby on the inside. We're not going to show the surgery. I want you to see the baby on the inside. And you go, that is a patient, that is a person. Let's see if we can get it to go.
Often through the 12-pharynx port.
There's the uterus. You can see it lit up red like Rudolph's nose because of the light there on the inside. But now I want you to look at the baby on the inside.
One operator holding.
There's no fluid. Baby's not floating. We've removed almost all of the fluid before they do the spinal surgery, neurosurgery on the baby on the inside. Pretty amazing, huh? Changed a lot from when pregnancy centers have gone from when we used to offer pregnancy tests. Now you can get them at the dollar. Dollar store will have pregnancy tests. Then we started doing ultrasound. Now we have the opportunity to let the baby defend itself. I spoke at the University of Florida College of Medicine Valentine's Day. Were we allowed to use any scripture and Bible verses? No, because it really wouldn't be effective. If they don't see that as the authoritative, word of God, they're not going to respect it. We use science. We use science with these medical students, many of whom walked in pro-abortion and just thought that was the mantra, and then walked out and says, I'd never seen that. I'd never seen how we treat the preborn as patients. And then saying, I don't know if I describe myself as being pro-life, but I really got to rethink this. Let the babies defend themselves by showing their personhood and their personality on the inside. Dr. Olutoye. Dr. Olutoye grew up in Nigeria, did some training in Nigeria, then he came over to Virginia, and then now he's down in Houston at Texas Children's Hospital. And I'm going to, he did a TED Talk. TED Talk is not a pro-life organization. He did a TED Talk where he described how he treats these babies. This baby that I'm going to show you has a huge, what's called a sacrococcygeal teratoma, a tumor that is large enough and is drawing enough blood supply from the rest of the baby that the baby is going to die if they don't do surgery. He refers to the baby as a patient. He refers to the baby by her first name, Lile, and then he does the surgery and he says, if we didn't do surgery, my patient would die. Let me show you the tumor. We won't, but you can go on to YouTube and you can put in his name and you're not going to remember how to spell it. So take a picture of it quickly. Take a picture of it because it was it's Dr. Olutoye. And look at his TED Talk and you'll be able to get to see what he did. Where's this tumor? This is the baby on the inside. This is the tumor here on the inside. While that baby was still on the inside, he removed that tumor, and his background was in studying how the baby heals in the womb. It's like if you were you're baking a cake. You bake a cake, you put the pan in, and 5 minutes later you said, I'm going to take that cake out, I'm going to stick my finger in that raw batter and put it back in. When you finally take that cake out of the oven, can you see where you put your finger in that cake? No. What if you bake that cake, you take it out of the oven, and then you stick your finger in it? You're going to see that hole. That hole's going to be there forever. When a baby is still baking on the inside and we do surgery, the scarring is much less. That's one of the initiatives on why we do surgery on the inside, because number one, it saves the baby's lives, but they have less scarring and less complications. But we're actually doing heart surgery now on the babies on the inside. We are doing heart surgery and spine surgery at 22 weeks gestation. You're like, how do you do heart surgeries? Let's talk about aortic stenosis. What is aortic stenosis? The left ventricle contracts. It puts blood out to the rest of the body. When that left ventricle contracts, it goes through the aorta. If that aorta is normal, you hear a whew, 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 whew. If the aorta is closed, you don't hear that sound. You hear wee, 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 wee. If we don't do something and open up that valve, that baby will die of heart failure on the inside. So what do? We guide a needle. Ultrasound guidance. We go through the mom's belly. We go up to the wall of the uterus. We go through the wall of the uterus. We go right up to the baby's chest. We introduce that needle not just into the baby's chest, not just into that baby's heart. We then thread it up into the aortic valve, which is all closed. We inflate the balloon at the end of that, and we blow up that valve a little bit. Within 60 seconds, we see dramatic improvements of that baby's blood flow. Is that treating them as a patient on the inside? If we're doing valvuloplasty, we're now doing septoplasty, and we're doing neurosurgery, spinal surgery, at 22 weeks gestation, right at the earliest cusp of when a baby could even think of surviving on the outside. Yet we're doing heart surgery and we're doing neurosurgery on these babies. But you know what? There's a bioethicist. from the Journal of Medical Ethics who says, you know what? Doyle and Ward suggest that a woman's autonomy may be threatened if fetuses are regarded as patients in their own right. That was in 2011. Well, I got news for her. We do treat them as patients on the inside. And because that mom is a patient, mom is an amazing life support system, but baby is also a patient. Cell-free DNA. Life has changed since you had a baby, ladies. We now can do a blood test as early as 7 weeks after conception, and we can tell you about the gender and DNA of your baby. How? Here's the baby. There's little fragments of DNA from the baby that come into the mom's blood circulation. But mom, 95% of these little fragments are from the mom, 5% are from the baby. It would be like having a sugar bowl. Somebody takes a salt shaker and puts a little bit of salt in that sugar bowl and I go, I did not mean to do that. Gordon, could you do me a favor? Could you get all that salt out of that sugar bowl? No problem. I'll just pick out the little white crystals that are salt and I'll separate them. Same thing with the DNA. But guess what? We have the technology. We can take all that DNA. We can take the 95%, which is moms, the 5%, which are babies, and I can tell you lots of information about that baby 7 weeks after conception, 9 weeks from the first day of the last menstrual period, so that we can make decisions on aborting that baby? No, because there are certain conditions that we need to identify early so that we can maybe get a different specialist involved, maybe deliver that baby at a different facility, because we treat patients differently depending on what their diagnosis is. But 2 hours after you either deliver that baby or abort that baby and you want to look for the baby's cell DNA, that DNA is not there. Why? Because this person, Elvis has left the building. This person is no longer there, so we cannot do studies of the babies. So when you see this girl with her big old smile and nice and happy and says, it's my body, it's my choice. Yes, your body is an amazing life support system, but first of all, half the time, that body is not your body, because I know that because it's a boy. So how could that XY chromosome be your body? Your body's a life support system, but this is a completely different person. Have you all done this before? 23andMe, Ancestry.com. I did it. It's pretty cool. You know, you give them $50, they send you a little tube, you drool in it for 5 minutes, and you send it off, and it tells you your family tree. They tell you about your great-great-great-great-grandparents, go back hundreds of years. This was your side of the mom's side of the family. This was your dad's side of the family. Well, guess what? This is mine. I am 38% Eastern European. Of course, I underlined the 29% Irish when I was in Ireland last week. That's my family history. That is my story. Did this story start when I was born, when my mama pushed me out, that all of a sudden I have 38% this, 29%, 12% that? No. In fact, if you were doing a study when I was one cell from my mom's side of the family, one cell from my dad's side of the family, if you were to look at that DNA of that one cell, guess what? It will be the exact same report. This was my 23andMe report, whether I am 55 years of age or whether I have just been conceived and my total number of cells is 1. That is scientific proof. That is genetics. Opioids, narcotics. We have a problem with this in Florida. I know that out here in Ohio, y'all don't have a narcotic or opioid problem at all, right? Yeah, who am I kidding? You have a problem, I have a problem. It's inner city, it's rural, it's suburban. It is across the country. In fact, 2017, we had 72,000 people in the United States die of overdoses. What's one agent that's used to save those lives? Narcan. If you haven't seen Narcan work, it is a Disney movie. This is Sleeping Beauty that is out, cannot respond to pain, cannot breathe, there is just a heartbeat. We give them a shot of Narcan, and they will just rise like Lazarus. They will be up and go, well, how did I get here? Narcan's an amazing drug. But you know what? We have another blight going across this country, more so than narcotics. It is RU-486, mifepristone, the abortion pill. And do not confuse the abortion pill with the morning after pill, which was 72 hours. That was 72 hours. This is 70 days, where it can be 98% effective in taking the life of a baby in the womb with this medicine called RU-486. Anybody here ever work as a server? No waiters? Wait, okay. If the chef has a special and he says, today's special is meatloaf, and you're selling the meatloaf, and then the chef says 86 the meatloaf. What does that mean to you? Kill it. Meatloaf's done. We're out of it. Kill it. Kill the special. Look at this drug. It's a question. RU-486ing this pregnancy, this baby that's there on the inside. That's the way I remember it as I served myself through college. 39% of all the abortions in the United States are now chemical abortions with this, because this is the business model of Planned Parenthood, because the profit margin is higher. Again, 98% effective. Well, how does it work? Woman gets pregnant. Husbands, you know this. There are a couple changes that happen when your wife got pregnant. Lots of different changes. Well, there is a lot of change and there are a lot of instruments in this orchestra, but guess what? There's one conductor. If you have the orchestra tuning and getting ready at the beginning of a concert, it doesn't sound real great until the maestro walks out. The maestro walks out and all of a sudden everybody is going to be playing together. The conductor in the orchestra of pregnancy is a hormone called progesterone. Progesterone is what keeps the pregnancy going. It is the one that announces, says, hey, congratulations, we are pregnant, we are not going to have a cycle, we're going to divert resources, and we're going to support this pregnancy. RU-486 successfully blocks that hormone signal, the progesterone. Progesterone is a hormone that we use in obstetrics all the time. We use it to prevent preterm labor. We use it to prevent recurrent miscarriage. If somebody had IVF, in vitro fertilization at a different place, guess what? Mom was not expecting a pregnancy to arrive. So what do they do at their centers? They put them on progesterone to keep this pregnancy going. This is not some black box drug over on the shelf. It's something that I use every day on my patients on the inside. RU-486 was actually featured in a recent PBS feature, and we're going to go through it. It is growing. It is 39%. It's going to go to 40%. It's one of the fastest growing used drugs in the United States. But I'm going to show you what PBS did a special on, and I want you to have empathy for this lady. Am I mad at this lady that you're going to see? Nope. I am mad because it is my peers who I spent 4 years in college, 4 years in medical school, 4 years in residency, who have a position of authority, who have convinced this lady that even though her heart is saying, thank you for this gift of life, her brain has been convinced by these doctors that this is not a gift. Listen to her heart.
What I hope I feel is a sense of peace, not only with myself and in the decision that I've made, but also a sense of peace with these two beings that I've chosen not to bring into the world. Thank you for choosing me, and I'm honored to be given this gift of life. And also, I can't do it right now. I can't accept that mantle in terms of the other lives that I'm taking care of and I'm responsible for.
She has just found out that she is pregnant with twins. She has taken the pill RU-486. You can see her head is saying, well, I'm not going to have a baby. I'm not going to have these babies. But her heart is just crying out, thank you for this gift of life. Thank you for choosing me. I'm honored. My heart breaks for her, because now she has made this public about what she has done, and I am angry at my peers that I spent hundreds of hours with who have convinced her that this is not a gift of life. ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, will tell you, nobody regrets having their abortion. Nobody regrets taking the abortion pill. Abortion pill reversal is ridiculous because nobody has regrets. What are we looking at? Golden Gate Bridge. What city? San Francisco. 1,800 people have jumped off that bridge attempting suicide. 1,800. You see that little fence that's there along the side? They have now spent $210 million on a new system which will prevent people from jumping off and dying. It'll kind of close up around them and almost trap them, because this is almost a weekly occurrence. But guess what? Does everybody who jumps off the Golden Gate Bridge die? No. In fact, they know that 29 people survived. In fact, a psychologist out in San Francisco tracked down and interviewed those 29 people. What did she find out? And listen to what they're saying, and listen to somebody and compare that in your mind with somebody who's walking into an abortion clinic. They all said, I walked out onto the Golden Gate Bridge. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares for me. I have no hope. I have no other options. The world would be better without me. 29 people jumped off and survived. But guess what? When the psychologists interviewed them, they all had that story. All of them also said, as soon as I saw that bridge up above me, I cried out to God and I said, save me, I don't want to die. Did they have regrets? Yes. Do people walk into an abortion clinic with that same mentality? Nobody loves me. Nobody cares for me. I have no hope. The world will be better without my baby. Yes. Do we see women having regrets and contacting our hotline right after? Usually, my experience, I've successfully reversed 6 abortion pills, and we've had healthy moms, healthy babies. And most of our calls come from the parking lot or on their way home, where they have that immediate regret. So we have a network, an abortion pill rescue network. We have a toll-free number. We have nurses that are manning it 24/7. We have trained over 500 doctors in the protocol and policies and safeties of abortion pill reversal. In December, we had baby number 1,000 that we were able to save through the abortion pill reversal network. That's myself. That's Dr. George Delgado. This is one of the first pregnancies that I was able to successfully reverse. You know, beautiful baby. It was quite a trip. Mom named the baby Journey. All right, but let me tell you about the most recent one that I had. Mom lived in Destin. She was 9 weeks pregnant. She tried to get into the abortion clinic in Tallahassee. They were too busy. She had to drive all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, 6 hours away. She gets the abortion pill, and she's now driving home on Interstate 10. And guess what? She sees one of those billboards that said, heartbeat at 18 days. Who put that sign up? I don't know. Then she drives a little bit further and she sees another billboard that says, your mom chose life, you should too. All of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? She pulls off the rest area and she looks up antidote for the abortion pill. She finds our network, calls our hotline, speaks with the nurse gets the information, she calls me, I call the patient, get all the information, find out what her pharmacy is, and I call in the reversal medication. She drives all the way home to Destin, Florida. She gets to her pharmacy, she takes the medication. 7 hours after she took the abortion pill, she has just started the reversal therapy. She is now 37 weeks pregnant in my practice, and she better not deliver this weekend. But she is now 37 weeks pregnant, and she is a healthy mom, and she's going to have a healthy baby. So when God and the Holy Spirit talk to you and say, hey, I want you to get involved in this pregnancy center. I want you to get involved in this ministry. I want you to teach Sunday school. I want you to get involved in the nursery. Listen to what he's saying. God talked to somebody and say, put up a billboard. God said to another person, put up a billboard. Do I know who these people are? No. God works in a chain, and we are all links in that chain. This person put up a billboard. This person put up a billboard. This nurse was working over at the hotline. And you know what else is amazing? The pharmacist was involved in this too. How was the pharmacist involved? Because when I called her, she said, and I told her what I wanted, she said, are you trying to reverse an abortion? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And I want to give you my credit card number because I don't want the patient to have to pay for it. She goes, oh, sweetie, don't worry about that. She goes, I'm going to take care of this girl. She goes, and I'm going to pay for this medication out of my own pocket. Have I met this pharmacist before? No, I have never met that pharmacist, but that's how God works. He takes a bunch of links. I don't want to be the missing link. I don't want to be the link that dropped the ball and the chain was not effective. What did it cost? $109. $109 worth of medication to save the life of that baby. You have a baby whose mom has taken the abortion pill, has a 90% chance of walking to death, yet we invest $109 and we buy back the life of that baby. What's the spiritual word for buying back? We redeemed that baby. This is an example we use at churches, and a lot of people say, you know, I knew redeemed was good. I knew it was a positive thing, but I really didn't understand it. Now they understand it. ACOG also says the so-called abortion pill reversal is unproven and unethical. This is the same group that advocates for taking the lives of the baby and now has a fellowship where you can spend an extra year after training where you can learn to do a third trimester abortion because they do not feel that there is enough supply of abortionists to fulfill the need. So is it a choice? Well, when I look at it and we see 62 million lives, this is not a choice like coffee or tea over on the side. We are engaged in a spiritual battle. And if you are engaged in a spiritual battle, it'd be better know to use the right tools. So what does the Bible say? Psalm 139, you formed my inmost being. You knit me in my mother's womb. I praise you. So wonderfully you made me. The psalmist is saying, man, there was a night of romance 9 months ago and a baby came out. And I'm like, I don't understand how that happened, but I knew that it had to be God. God created that miracle and knit you in your mother's womb. Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. God had a relationship with Jeremiah and wanted him to serve his cause. Galatians 1:15, but he who had set me apart, Paul is saying, before I was born, in order that I might preach him among the Gentiles. God knew what Paul's role was going to be in his kingdom even before he was born. Quickly, the stats, 47 years, 62 million lives. California's population is 40 million, 20 million in Florida. We have taken the lives of every man, woman, and child in the state of California and the state of Florida. My stats in Florida, well, we have abortions, yes. We have people die, we have people born. That's Florida State Stadium at our capital. Our state motto is "In God We Trust." We have 75,000 people at a Florida State game. That same year, how many abortions were performed? 76,000. We are losing a stadium full of babies year after year after year just in the state of Florida. This is a DVD that's going to go into a lot more information. I've got them out at the book signing table, and I've got a business card for all of you with my cell number on it. So if you have a medical problem, just call me. We'll do a house call over the phone. Person. Huge key word. Germany. The Reichsgericht, that's the German Supreme Court, refuses to recognize Jews as persons. You want to kill 6 million? You want to take their property? You just say Jews aren't persons. How about when it comes to women's right to vote? The statutory word person did not in these circumstances include women. How about the Native Americans? An Indian is not a person within the meaning of the Constitution. How about African Americans? Virginia's Supreme Court. In the eyes of the law, the slave is not a person. Were they wrong then? Absolutely they were wrong. That's why we have a U.S. Supreme Court. They're supposed to correct that, correct? No. U.S. Supreme Court said that African Americans were a subordinate and inferior class of beings. Was the U.S. Supreme Court wrong then? Yes. Was that corrected? Yes. How about in 1973 when the U.S. Supreme Court said the word person, as used in the 14th Amendment, does not include the unborn? Were they wrong then? Yes, because a patient is a person no matter how small. Can this be corrected? Yes. Is it going to be corrected in our lifetime? I strongly think so, and I think we are going to see the day when this is corrected. Why am I at the beach? I am at the beach because it's turtle season. This is actually Memorial Day weekend last year over in Pensacola. And I went over to go see one of the turtle nests. And we found this sign right next to the turtle nest. And when they have groups that will volunteer and they go out and they find every turtle nest on Pensacola Beach. And they will put not just one fence around it, not just 2 fences around it. They'll put 3 fences around every turtle nest with preborn babies there on the inside. Preborn turtles there on the inside. And why do I use the term preborn? And why do I say the U.S. Supreme Court was wrong here? Because unborn talks about this point in time. Because the normal chain of events is that you are preborn with the expectation is that you will be born. You don't send your child to unschool. You send your child to preschool. You don't watch the ungame show. You watch the pregame show. So we're going to stop using the term unborn and we're going to start using the term preborn because naturally the process is that you will be born. But I want you to look at this sign. There is Florida law and there is federal law. And you can spend 1 year in jail and be fined $100,000 for disturbing preborn sea turtles. Can you see the year? Gordon, can you read that? What year is that? 1973. Isn't that ironic that on one side of Washington, D.C., they are saying, you disturb preborn sea turtles, we're going to stick you in jail for a year and we're going to fine you $100,000. Yet that same year on the other side of the city, they said, but you know what? Preborn babies on the inside don't have any rights and you can take their lives. Kingdom service. We're going to get maybe 70, 80, 90 years and then free medical advice, y'all, you're all going to die. You're all going to die unless Jesus comes, you're all going to die. And then we're going to be face to face with Jesus. And we're going to think about, what did I do for kingdom service? I'm here for all eternity. Yet what did I do for kingdom service while I was here on earth? When God put that little thought in my head and said, I want you to be involved in this ministry. I want you to be involved in that ministry. What did we do? Well, what is our goal? Our goal is to look back on how we spent our lives here on earth and say, you know what? I did my best. I tried to serve the kingdom. We want Jesus to, we're going to be saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we want Jesus to look at us, look us in the eye and say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. So who did Jesus come to save? All of us, sinners. When we look over in Romans 5:8, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this, while we were still sinners, Jesus died for us. I'm in that category. Anybody else here a sinner? I'm in there, no doubt about it. But look at this in Psalms and the NIV. When it talks about sinners, surely I was sinful at birth. But hey, I was sinful from the time my mother conceived me. So if Jesus came to earth and lived a perfect life and then gave his life on the cross, conquered death for all sinners, and we were sinners from the time we were conceived, then Jesus died for the preborn. So if God loves us enough that he would send his son, his only son, live a perfect life, die on the cross for us, be buried for 3 days, then conquer death, and if we believe that, we can spend eternity with him. If God has that much love for you, if God has that much love for me, and if God has that much love for the preborn, then guess what? If God loves the preborn that much, then I must have that much love for the preborn. And if I love the preborn as much as God loves the preborn, then I will not be able to rest until I have protection and safety for every preborn from the moment of conception. God bless you all, and thank you very much.
Sure. Question. Oh, wow. Come on over. We're going to... There you go. I think we were separated at birth. I love that. I love that energy and good stuff. A couple really quick questions because we have to get a break in 1 minute here, but some good ones. I think you answered it already, but these amazing pictures and videos, are they available?
Yes, they are. In fact, most of them are on the DVD,
Right.
and most of them are up on our website as well.
And he'll be doing a book signing right after our procedure today. There are quite a few that were worried about the babies during these prenatal surgery
Sure.
things. Do they feel anything? How do you stabilize them? Are they anesthetized? That's three
We can
different
give them
questions.
anesthesia. That's one of the reasons that I don't like the fetal pain argument. Why? This is not a checkers match, this is a chess match. If you say, well, we don't want to have abortion because the babies feel pain, guess what? We can anesthetize the babies in the womb. We can give, even when we're doing a blood transfusion, we can give them a little injection of a paralytic called Norcuron. Because you don't want a baby moving around while you have a needle there on the inside. So we can paralyze the babies with Norcuron. So if we paralyze the babies with Norcuron and we can give them anesthesia, that would be the next argument from the abortion community, who would say, well, fetal pain is a bad thing? Okay, well, just like when you have surgery, we can give you anesthesia and you don't feel it, we can do the same thing with the baby on the womb. And then they say, okay, so there's no fetal pain anymore, you're cool with the abortion. It's like, no, I'm not.
Excellent, excellent. Now, a lot of folks, I think, is the abortion reversal pill. That's kind of new for a lot of us.
Sure.
How long do you have?
We are 70% successful if we can initiate therapy within the first 72 hours. We have small trials. I can't give you all the information, but we are just weeks away from having an institutional review board from a major university here in the United States. We have raised almost $600,000 for this trial. Well, we will be incorporating all the women that call the Abortion Pill Rescue Network into a university-supervised trial where when people have been given the abortion pill RU-486, we will randomize them into two different groups. One is going to be receiving oral progesterone, one is going to be receiving vaginal progesterone, and we're going to get them the data that they are demanding. So we are just weeks away from that, but we have saved the lives of 1,000. I have saved 6 with the help of God, with the help of progesterone. RU-46, ACOG came out and said, you know what, people, 2% of the time it doesn't work. So 2% of the time people say, well, what if I continue, it doesn't work? What happens to my baby? ACOG and the FDA have said there is no evidence of it causing birth defects. So if the abortion, now the abortion pill can take a life, but if it does not cause birth defects and the reversal medication is something that we use all the time, this is a red light, green light. There is no yellow light. You're either going to be successful or you're not going to be successful. Healthy moms, healthy babies.
Okay. The whole educational thing you mentioned, is this stuff being taught in medical school?
Not being taught in medical school. The medical school community is very pro-abortion. There might be some exceptions maybe up at the Liberty University. I spoke at Liberty University College of Medicine, but we just went through these whole protocols at the University of Florida College of Medicine. They might not have been expecting all that, but we went through the science, we went through the protocols. And so is it being taught in medical school? No. That's why I'm traveling all around to teach other physicians. We have trained 500 physicians in all 50 states.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Mike's got to get to his Dr. Lile to his table. Mike's going to take you to your table. Thank you so much.
Thanks.